right, I think people is almost about to be in. Welcome to this second webinar in the series of Umbraco Technology Partners. This time featuring a great company called Struct. In Umbraco, we believe in best of breed, and with way more than 500,000 sites running on Umbraco in the World Wide Web, there's a lot of these that has other softwares built in or integrated with. Over the last year, we established our technology partner program so we can inspire and build connection between solution partners, agencies building web projects, and technology partners who's building software and services already working with Umbraco. So every month going forward, you will get the chance to meet a new technology partner at a webinar presenting their services and software. My name is Anders Sorensen. I am head of Umbraco Partner Channels, and with me today I have Simon Lyder. Both Simon and I are very excited to have you join us. So stay tuned for the next 30 minutes and hear all about Struct and how they do product information management. Simon, please introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Anders. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here and listening to us today. And thank you also to Umbraco for giving us the opportunity to tell you a little bit about Struct PIM. First of all, my name is Simon. I'm the CTO here at Struct. So that means I have the overall responsibility for the development of Struct and Struct PIM. So I oversee the everyday development of the system and also the rollouts we do in collaboration with implementation partners. If you have anything you'd like to hear more about, you're always welcome to contact me after today. So you can just write me an email if there's something you would like to hear about. Before we take a deeper dive into what Struct PIM actually is, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about the background for Struct PIM. So Struct is a breakout from one of the biggest e-commerce agencies in Denmark, actually. And it was actually started with a mission to build enterprise scale e-commerce solutions based on Umbraco. So right from the beginning, Umbraco was a core part of Struct. In the first year, we in Struct were lucky enough to get actually a few large projects, enterprise scale e-commerce projects that we had to do based on Umbraco. And while there are lots of great software out there for doing the actual e-commerce side of things, one point that was missing was a dedicated PIM system to actually manage large scale product assortments, as well as complex data for these enterprise scale e-commerce solutions. So to accommodate that, we outlined an implementation of a PIM system for Umbraco, which would be suitable for these projects that we were doing. That quickly became the standard product, Struct PIM, which is now today part of the Umbraco App Store that we distribute through. And today, the business model of Struct actually solely revolves around the distribution and implementations of Struct PIM, because we've seen, luckily, a lot of interest in this part of the software and the company. So what is a PIM system and why do we need it at all? So first of all, PIM stands for Product Information Management. And what it is actually a dedicated system for managing rich product data. Today, most customer journeys span multiple sales channels. So we don't just go to an online store to buy our things. We meet the products in online stores, we meet them in social media, we meet them in physical stores, all sorts of sales channels. So as a retailer today, if you want to be relevant, you need to make sure that you are available on all those channels, and also that your products are presented in the right way in these channels. Or if you are a brand and you want your brand to be displayed in the same way so you get a better brand awareness, you also need to have a uniform presentation of your brand. So in order to do that, and as soon as you have complex data or you have a lot of products that you need to manage your data for, doing that in a CMS system or a not dedicated system becomes very tedious, and you end up with a mess where you're not able to do that. So that's where PIM actually comes in as a dedicated system to manage hundreds of thousands or even millions of products with complex data that can be distributed throughout all your sales channels. So you can have a lot of good displays of your product throughout those sales channels. Before we dive into the actual product, I'll just like to outline what the product actually is. So Struct PIM is a plugin for Umbraco listed on the Umbraco App Store. It enables the management, as I just mentioned, of large product data sets within Umbraco. So within the Umbraco back office, you'll be able to manage very large sets of product data. To accommodate that, we store data in a separate data structure. That means it's not stored in Umbraco nodes. So we're not contaminating the Umbraco website structure with product data. We have it in our own structure. Struct PIM is built very much with the idea that it should feel as native as possible to Umbraco. So as an end user, you should look at Struct PIM and get the feeling that you're just working with Umbraco and not just an app for Umbraco. All integration with Struct PIM works through the open standard REST API that's provided with the system. And implementation of Struct PIM is always done through our implementation partners. We have implementation partners all over Scandinavia, and we have in the UK, and we have in the US. But we're always looking to expand our implementation partner network. So if anyone is interested after this to hear more about Struct PIM and how you could leverage Struct PIM in your business, feel free to contact us to hear more. So that's enough about all the formal stuff. I think that what you're actually here for is to see a demo about what is Struct PIM actually. So I'll dive right into that here. So I'm switching my screen here now to an Umbraco 8 installation where we've installed Struct PIM into. And what you see here is that when Struct PIM is installed in Umbraco, you get a separate section. So apart from the sections that you get standard with Umbraco, you now get a new section called PIM. With the user I'm logged in as here right now, I see three sections. I see the media section, I see the user section, and then I see the PIM section. The reason I'm seeing these here in this demo is that the media and the user section is what we are connected to in the PIM system, meaning that the medias that we reference on products in PIM, they reside in the standard Umbraco media archive. And also, of course, the users that are able to log into the PIM system and work with the products are created in the Umbraco user section here. Permissions and control of who should be able to do what for each user group in Umbraco can be controlled within the PIM system. So you can set up in here exactly what each user should be able to do in the system. When we're in the system here, the first thing I see is that we get our tree menu as we're used to from Umbraco over here. And then we get the work area here where the first thing I'm shown is the dashboard. The dashboard is something that can be configured by the end users themselves. So they can set this up by themselves. I'll come back to that a little bit later to talk a bit more about how it can be leveraged. The thing I'd like to show you here is the product catalogs. So if I fold this one out here, I will be logged out, of course. Here, I'll see the hierarchies or the categories or catalogs, sorry, that's created in here. So in this demo setup, we've created three catalogs for different purposes. So imagine you have different sales channels where you want to have different products displayed. You could have different catalogs for each one of them if you need that. I'll fold this one out to have a look at what we have in the internal hierarchy catalog. And in here, we start getting the categories within that catalog, and I can fold that out even further. So when I fold this out, I get the subfolders of this one. The depth of these category structure can be as deep as you want. In this case, we have 3 levels. You might have 4 or 5 or whatever you want. You can also have as many catalogs as you want in the system. When I fold out the laptops category here, I start seeing products. So products here, when I click one of those, I go to the actual product page to see that. And this looks very familiar to you. It consists of tabs here, and then these sections here we have with properties in the sections. And this is something that can be configured in the interface down here in the PIM system, just like you would with Umbraco document types. We have a similar concept called product structures for setting these things up. When you look through the attributes that we have here, there are several different types of them. If we have a look at the first one here, the name attribute, we have a little English sign up here stating that this specific attribute right here, that is localized, meaning that I can have different versions on the different languages. So if I were to change the language up here, why does it keep locking me out? And I'm back now. I'm sorry about that. Hope you can look past that. So can you see my screen again here now?
Yes.
Great. So I will go back to where we came from before and have a look at the laptop we just looked at here. This one right here. So as I was about to tell is that we have a few fields here which is localized. So I can change the language up here to see these change when I do that. Also, what I can do is that when we see this, I'm missing a translation in Danish. I can switch on translation here to have a side-by-side view to see how it would look in the English, and then use that to translate to Danish when I do that. So that's a feature that's available in here. Every time we see a drop-down like this one, so the brand that we have here, when we see this one, what we'll have is a global list, which is up here. So global lists is a concept that we have for actually reusing data. Instead of having to put in ACES on all of our laptops, here we can have a brand list here, which holds all of these. What's important to note is that we have each of these brands here can actually consist of multiple data, so they're complex objects in themselves. So I could add a logo here to Bosch if I wanted to. I could also set up an attribute to hold the description for Bosch if I wanted to have that. So I would be able to actually set up multiple things on a brand to reuse them on my product here. So I wouldn't have to put that into every product. You can even build complex structures like having colors here, the light blue color here, which then references a base color from another global list up here to build up that structure that you need to have for your web shop, saying that the light blue actually is part of a base color that is blue. So every time you see a drop down like this one right here, the values that you're able to select comes from these global lists up here. If we look through the different tabs here, we see that we have different types of attributes. We have rich text attributes, which can also be controlled by their viewports. We have images, which are just references to images in the Umbraco media archive, as I mentioned in the beginning. We could also build up something to hold videos in here, for example, YouTube videos if we wanted to. We could set up attributes to hold documents and set perhaps a document type or something like that. Or we could even have relations to other products like accessories, upsell products, cross-sell products, and so forth. All of this, every time we see something like this is just an attribute or a property that is set up in the system to hold this. We also have a tab here for seeing where is this one placed within the different catalogs. So where is it placed in the internal hierarchy catalog and where is it placed in the electronic sites? And we can see the variants that might exist for this specific one right here. So a product altogether has a lot of information here, and the one that is a bit special as well is this technical specification. So if I go to this one, I see a lot of specific information for the laptop here. So we can see that all these attributes down here are very specific to laptops. If I go have a look at a t-shirt instead of that here, and go to the technical specifications of the t-shirts, what I see here is completely different. And the reason I'm seeing something very different here is that this product right here is placed within the t-shirts category, whereas the laptop we looked at before is placed in the laptops category. So we're actually able to set up attributes on the categories themselves to say that every product that is in this category should have these attributes. So that makes it for a very flexible way of controlling which attributes are available to the editor when they are filling in the information for their products. When we look at a Bosch t-shirt like this one, we see that we can have many variants of that, and I can have an overview of those here as well. So that's a lot about the actual product and how it looks when you go to it to see the product page. And I've been working a lot here right now in the catalogs here. What we see our clients actually doing when they start working with the system is use the search here. So when they go to the search, they see different fields in the system, and they can actually change that. So they can go in here and see all the columns in the system. So they can start adding in fields. So all fields that we have in the system, I can add in here. So for example, if I want to show the brand here, I can do that. So I'll select the brand here, and I will get a search view now that shows me the primary image, the name, and the brand, and I can start searching those fields. So if I write Bosch here, I get everything Bosch, all that is branded Bosch. If I write a star here, I get everything that contains Bosch, and I get both Hugo Boss as well as Bosch. So this is a very fast way to find the things I want to find. What I can also do is like this to find everything that's empty. It means everything that doesn't have a brand right now. And I can do the opposite to find everything that has a brand right now. So combining these operators makes the user very easily able to find exactly the things that he needs to find here to work with. So say, for example, he makes a search to find all products that are missing a primary image, he will get those here. And now he can start to select those like this, or he can just select all of them. When he does that, he gets several actions available. The first one being the bulk update. So the bulk update is a feature that allows you to update a single field in here. So I'll select the brand field and set the same value for all of them. When I do this, I get the ability to set a new brand. So I'll select the Apple, for example, saying this is Apple products. And I can decide to see an update report before I confirm that. And when I do that, I get this one right here. So I can see what's the current value and what's the new value if I choose to accept this. Now, in this case, I have 7 items. I could as well have had 10,000 items that I did a bulk update with. In the case we're looking at here, we're missing the primary image, and it probably wouldn't make sense to set the same primary image for all of them. If I wanted to work with these, I'd use the update sequentially here. And what I can do now is I can select between, again, all the attributes in the system. So I could set the primary image, and just for the sake of showing it, I can select the brand as well. And what it'll do now is it will show me a Excel-like view where I can select the image for each one of them. I'll get a picker here where I can select the image from the Umbraco Media Archive to easily go through all 7 of these products missing the primary image and set the primary image for those to save it all at once instead of having to go to each one by one. Okay. So that's one of the features that's available as well to work with a lot of data at the same time. The classify feature here allows you to move products around in the catalog. So if I want to add these products to the wine channel site, I want to add them in the white wine category, I could easily do that as well, move them around like that. I could also choose to export data here. So if I do this, say export, I can have a template with the fields that I want to export if I do the same export often. I can also just choose to build one right now. So I'll build an Excel export here. I'll select the internal ID. I'll select the name in English. I'll select the brand here to see those values here. And I'll download an Excel sheet like that. Now I should get an Excel sheet with the 7 products that we just looked at here with the values in those fields that I selected to export. Now I can actually start changing these fields here. So I can write Hugo Boss here. I could change this one and perhaps this one as well in the Excel sheet and save that and go back to my PIM system and go to the import here. And when I go to the import, I can select the file that I just had here. And it gives me the opportunity to upload media with the file. So if I have a reference in this Excel sheet to physical media items, I can include a zip file containing those media items here, and they will automatically be uploaded to the media archive of Umbraco and connected to the products in the PIM system. I don't have that here, so here I'll just upload the file, and it asks me what do you have in the file, products or variants. So I'll select products here. And because this is an export that's done from the PIM system, it shows me the columns to the left of the Excel sheet, and then it matches it automatically to fields in the PIM system. If this was a file I'd gotten from, say, a supplier, I would have to do the mapping themselves, and I could save that mapping to reuse it later. I'll push the next button here, and what it does now is that just like with the bulk updates, it gives me an overview of what's going to happen. So we see a marking here with the green color every time something has been changed, and I can choose to just view the changes here to see what's been changed in which fields, and then I can approve the ones that I want to approve and commit that import. And again, in this case, I'm looking at only a very few items. I could as well have had a lot of product items here. So that's also a very important feature in the bulk update. Sorry, in the search here. We do have other features in here, like adding to a workbench, which is like a favorite list I could add to. We also have the possibility to actually build publications from the system. Publications can be one of two things. It can either be a finished PDF, which is built from a template that's set up in the system. So you could build product pages. From that, you could build a whole catalog, multi-page catalog from that with a front page and index pages. But you could also export the data in a format that's suitable for InDesign. So if you need to build your catalogs, your physical catalogs in InDesign, you can get the data from the PIM system to import into your InDesign here. So that's also something that's available in here. So overall, the search here combined with these actions makes the user able to do a lot of smart things very efficiently and work with a lot of products at the same time here in the system. The missing piece here now is the dashboard. So in order for users to have an overview of the state of their data, they use the dashboard to sort of do things and find things they need to do something with. So what the dashboard actually is, the ones we're seeing here, that's actually just saved searches. So what we've done here is that we created a search to find all variants in the system that doesn't have an image. We can save that and we can pull it to the dashboard. When I click this item here, I go to the variants list, and I get the search just like before, and I can see everything in here. So now I can start to select them here again, and I can use the actions that we saw before to rectify the missing images on these variants right here. So the dashboard is a very powerful feature to have an overview of your data and where is something missing. So you can use this pretty much as a to-do list on things you need to correct on your data in the system. You can also choose to display some of the saved searches as either a pie chart here to say how is the distribution of things, or as well as a line chart to see how has the development been over time. Have we become better at not having products without images or worse here? So that's also something that's available in the dashboard. Finally, as I told you to start with, everything you see in here is available through a REST API. So whether you need to actually go and put data into the PIM system, or you need to pull data from the PIM system, you use this open API to do that. So when you go and have a look at this API, you can see that you can pull and push pretty much anything into it, whether it be languages, global list values, products or variants, or even attributes you need to create or pull from the system. The REST API is the place to go. So that's the place for integration as well.
And Simon, there's a question, does the product support multi-store setup? Is it that also through the API that you would normally do that, or how would you set that up?
Yes, that would be through the API. So that's one of the key elements of having a PIM system, is that you can manage your products in one place and then you could distribute them to multiple stores. And maybe you just want a subset of those products for the different stores. you could use the API to find just the products that is suited for one store, and as well as the ones that are suited for another store. So you would manage them in here, and you would distribute them to all your stores from here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So are we? Is there more, Simon? Or are we ready to take some questions?
I'll just show one thing here in the end is the product model setup here. So this is the same concept as the document types of Umbraco. So in here we have the different document types, or we call them product structures here, where you can set up the product models and you can set up the variant models here to say what should be available on each tab and which properties do you want in each section. So this is something that's set up very easily in here, just like you would with normal Umbraco in here. So that's very important as well, because most PIM systems do not offer this. It's a programming task to do so. So that's the end of it. We have a lot of other special features in here for solving special cases and special needs and requirements from customers, but this is the overall presentation of Struct PIM.
Really exciting, Simon. It's impressive what you have built, and again, how true you are to the UI of Umbraco here.
Thank
so
you.
There's a few questions here. What about workflows, notifications, tasks to others? Maybe you can shortly show that.
Yep. We have the ability on these product models here to set up workflows. So you see something here like the product workflow. I can create a wizard to say I want different steps to be available depending on the life cycle of the product. You can also set up on each tab on the product model, you can say who is able to see these tabs under different circumstances. You can even do that all the way down to the product, to the property level. So say that some properties are only available for some specific users. So you're able to build workflows in many different ways by combining the step integration here with the available attributes for each users. So that's something you can easily do in here. Concerning notifications, we don't have that at the moment. Neither do we have tasks, but those are on the roadmap. So that's what we're looking to add to the system in the coming time here. So you can add tasks for different users in the system.
Okay. So any limits on numbers of products or any other things should be aware of?
No, you can add as many products, as many variants, as many attributes, as many catalogs and categories you want in here. We don't have any limits. We have customers with more than 5 million products in here using the system. So of course, there is an upper limit to the number of products, but it's not something we've run into yet.
I'm quite happy that you don't use the node structure in Umbraco for that.
Yeah.
And what about the price structure? Can you talk a bit about that, Simon?
Yes, of course. So Struct is a monthly license that you pay. We have 3 license tiers. We have a basic model, a basic license, and we have a professional license, and then we have an enterprise license. So the basic license pretty much contains everything you've seen here today, except for the publication part. You get some extra things with the professional, like revision logging on your products and the ability to roll back changes on your revision, as well as access to this publication here, and also a data supplier onboarding portal where you can onboard your suppliers and make them help you enrich your products in here. And the enterprise level, that's if you need special SLA agreements, or if you need to use it across multiple companies within one large company.
And what about the media? How is that structured with 5 million SKUs?
They are still residing in the Umbraco Media Archive. We have the references for them in our system. So you don't need to go to the media archive to actually have a look at them. In the cases where we have 5 million products, we have a lot of folders in Umbraco, and the media archive itself doesn't render too well when you go into Umbraco, but pulling the media from Umbraco works fine in those cases.
Yeah, and you can also use other cards, blob storage, things like that.
Yeah.
How we integrate this with various payment gateways. I don't know if that's on the PIM or you do that on the actual.
Yeah, that would typically be a task that would be in the commerce system. So the PIM would just deliver product information for your commerce platform. And then the commerce platform would do the integration with building the checkout and also the payment providers.
Yeah. And regarding e-commerce, are you aware of any Umbraco e-commerce packages integrating with Struct already, or is it custom integrations that are required?
It is custom implementations for now. We're having a lot of collaboration with Ecommerce to have standard integration between Struct PIM and Ecommerce here. So that's something we're working a lot on.
Is there an integration with the industry standards and data pools such as GS1?
We don't have a standard integration to GS1, but again, we actually have a lot of clients from the food industry who are integrating with GS1, but that's built into Struct PIM as a custom extension to the system. It's important to note that you can build all sorts of custom extensions for Struct PIM, just like you can with Umbraco. Because industry standards like GS1 are quite specific to the type of product that you have and how that matches with the model that you have in your PIM system. That's something that needs to be configured per client, so to speak.
Yeah. And then there's one asking about the completeness rules for products. I guess that was regarding to some of the searches you did before.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant question. That's the next thing we're going to work on along with the tasks here. So the next release we're doing, we will have a complete rewrite of the dashboard, making that completely drag and droppable. And the next one we will come with after that, we'll have the completeness metrics as well as the task assignment here. So it's on the roadmap. It's something that we are very much focused on building as well.
Okay. So there's a couple of questions regarding how to get started. So one is there a kind of a demo or something that they can play around with or can access?
Yep. If you're interested in hearing more about Struct PIM, you should contact us afterwards here. And what we can do is that we can spin up a demo setup like the one I've just shown you here, which you can get access to, which is just your own that you can play around with. And do whatever you want with to evaluate it. So that's something we can definitely do. But please contact us and we will set that up for you.
And Simon, if there is an agency or someone that wants to get started and have a project, how do you make sure that they understand your PIM system and set it up the right way? How do they get going? Is there some kind of support?
Yes. So every partner that we onboard to be an implementation partner of Struct PIM, we give them access to the documentation that we have. We have a partner portal which holds a lot of documentation. It also holds a lot of demo examples on how to set things up and how to solve common cases in the PIM system. And what we'll further do is that once there is a client that you get access to who wants to perhaps work with Struct PIM, we set up a demo system with you guys and we help you with the first implementation. So with all the agencies that we're working with at the moment, the onboarding process has been a very hands-on process where we've helped them do sort of a joint venture for the first 1 or 2 implementations of Struct PIM.
All right. So there's one asking, how do you handle bundles?
Yes. So bundles you would build by actually building a separate product model in here for holding bundles, and then you could set up attributes to hold references to the other products that are part of the bundle in here. So that's something that's easily available. Then you could add in the separate images you want to have for the bundle, separate pricing if you want that, and so forth, separate descriptions as well.
And then David is asking, what's the typical time to market on this?
Yes,
is it a 1,000 hours project, or how is this?
That's a very good question. Typically, if we go out to a new client and we have to to say to them, what is the standard implementation of this? It would be off our heads would be between 80 and 150 hours for the implementation of Struct PIM. And typically the time period would be 2 or 3 months. Even though you could use more hours in that time, there's also some maturity that needs to happen at the client themselves. So between 80 and 150 hours, that's the most typical examples we have for implementing Struct PIM.
How many implementation partners do you have in Denmark? I guess that is your biggest market still.
Yes, I don't have the exact number, but we are upwards 20.
Yeah. What are the monthly prices for the different tiers? I don't think you covered that when we talked about the different plans.
So the basic one that we have here, the monthly price is 1,300 euros. And for the professional license, it's 1,600 euros. And for the enterprise, that's something that's negotiated per client.
All right.
If you're interested, we have a fixed price list we can send you afterwards. So don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we will give you that.
Perfect. There's 2 more questions. Does the product support any starter kit? And how? Yeah, well, I think we covered that. How is this product related to Umbraco members?
Yeah, this product does not have any relation to Umbraco members. So you should think of Struct PIM as a backend service. So the Umbraco members is something you would probably use on your front end on your actually stores. So we don't have anything to do with that in here.
Okay. Is there any order maintenance?
No, we don't have anything concerning the actual e-commerce and the checkout of e-commerce solutions. It's simply product information management in here.
And deployment, is there a test system where you develop things and then you deploy it into production? Do you have multiple environments set up?
Yes, there are different possibilities on how you want to, depending on how you want to deploy it. You can deploy it to a cloud solution where you have a pre-built setup like the one I'm showing here. You could also, in that case, you would have a test environment, which we would spin up for you, as well as a production environment. We also offer Struct PIM as a NuGet package, so you can install that into your own Umbraco in Visual Studio, and then you could deploy that wherever you want to deploy it. So you could have multiple environments yourself, a test environment, staging environment, production environment, whatever you want to have, you could do that. And we don't have any limitations on that based on the license. So one license gives you the permission to have 2, 3, or 4 environments if you need that.
And last question, typical throughput on getting products through APIs. Must data be cached, for instance, in an e-commerce application?
Yes, that's a very good question as well. So it's very difficult for me to give you an idea, a general outline of the throughput on the products when you need to put them in here, because that depends a lot on how many attributes you have. If you have only a few attributes, we can put in thousands a second. If you have 400 or 500 attributes, it takes somewhat a lot more time. And also depends if you have revision locking enabled and so forth. When it comes to actually showing this on your web shop, the API of Struct PIM is not built to handle the load from an online store. So the Struct PIM API is built for with the integration in mind. So that means you should pull data from Struct PIM and put it in whatever cache layer you want to have for your Struct, which you can then scale out to match the need you have for your specific case of e-commerce.
Okay, there's actually one more question here. That will be the last one. Is it possible to set up rules to automate processes, for instance, auto classification?
Yes, it is possible to build that, I'd say, because what we do is that we have webhooks in the system that allows us to send messages to external systems, which can then do whatever you want to do in the system afterwards. So say you want to auto classify some products based on some properties. what you would do is you would set up a webhook to tell your system that this product has been updated. You would then evaluate the product to say, okay, the way the product looks now means that we should put it in a specific category. So you could do that. So you would place it in the hierarchy then from your code.
Okay, there is actually a very good last question here. I think you should have the chance to answer that. Why should we use Struct PIM only for managing data? We do the same with Ecommerce, like creating products, catalogs, marketing, etc. I think that's more a architectural advice or a question.
Yes, it's a very good question as well. So you should use Struct PIM because it allows you to manage a lot of products much faster than you can do in other systems like Ecommerce. So if you have a very large product set, you need something like Struct PIM. Also, if you have very complex data with references between each other, Struct PIM can also give you the opportunity to work much faster with those. So you get a much faster time to market comparing to using something like Ecommerce. Another point I'd like to make is that you should see Struct PIM as a microservice in an architecture where Struct PIM becomes your product microservice that enables you to have your products available for all sorts of purposes. In cases where you put your products into something like Ecommerce or whatever it might be, you have your products there and they're not as well suited for distributing to all sorts of other channels. So if you need to use them in a lot of different sales channels, you are not as easily able to do that as with a system like Struct PIM. Furthermore, the last point I'd like to make is that typically an e-commerce solution is something that you change every 3 or 4 years, but your product data stays the same. So if you imagine having to build a new e-commerce implementation, Sitecore or whatever, it doesn't matter which system it is. If you have all your product data in that system, you need to migrate all that data to the new system each time you change your front end, so to speak. Whereas if you hold your data in a microservice architecture where you use Struct PIM for your product service, then you can you're free to change the other technology that you use for your e-commerce, for your omni-channel, for your whatever social media integration, whatever you're using. You can change those more rapidly to keep up with the requirements of your end users.
I think you answered that question before, Simon. Very good. Thank you very much, Simon. So I have the last question. If any of these from the webinar is interested in contacting you, perhaps you can just tell us again how to get in touch.
Yeah, you should go to struct.com and you get all the information there. You can see more about the product. You can also see how you get in contact with us. You're also welcome to write to me, but go to struct.com and see more about what Struct does, and you can find out how to become partner with us, or if you need to know something else, there is contact information for all of us in there.
Perfect. And you are also present on our app section on umbraco.com. So always a way to find you. Thank you very much, Simon. I just want here before that we end up this session to announce that next webinar will be the 16th of December, same time as this, and it will be our technology partner Cybot presenting their fully integrated cookiebot solution. Thank you all for joining and have a nice day.